In studio, Jackee Gonzalez. Jackee is a Republican candidate for Congress in the new District 4. There are two candidates running on the Republican side. This will be decided in a June 14th primary. The two candidates are Jackee Gonzalez, who's here with us in studio now, and Sheriff Mike Wade, the Rico sheriff who was on a couple of weeks ago. Jackee, welcome.
Thank you very much, John. I'm very, very pleased to be here.
Okay, let's start with your petition drive. Have you been able to secure the signatures that you need to get on the ballot?
Yes, I'm very pleased to say that on Wednesday, the party certified our signatures. We were able to turn in over 1,400 signatures. So
okay, so
we
you're
are certified.
So you're on the ballot.
We are.
And there's two.
I am on the ballot.
And
yes.
there's two candidates, yourself and Sheriff Wade. Sheriff Wade, obviously, sheriff elected to office. You've never been elected to public office. What inspired this race?
Well, John, I love this country. I love the 4th District. I have lived in the 4th District for over 12 years of my 14 years of living here. I'm a naturalized citizen, legally immigrated to the United States, got naturalized. I love what the essence of America, what makes America great is freedom. And I love this country, and I'm really inspired by what we can do with what we've already been handed by those who came before us. And I'm concerned that we're losing freedom. And that's really kind of the big inspiration behind my run.
Jackee, where did you immigrate from?
I was born and raised in Kenya, and I was pleased to hear that your son is in Catholic school. I went to Catholic school from 4th to 8th grade.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So, they've got it right.
They did.
Those Catholics, they know how to train children.
Yes, they know how to do two things. I'm a Catholic, train children, and raise money. They passed
You
that
are
basket
correct
around.
about that.
Right? I
went
to somebody's church the other. I went to E.W. Jackson's church on Easter. He said, "Well, what did you think of the service?" I'm like, "Well, Bishop Jackson, it was fantastic, but see, I'm a Catholic, and like they passed the basket 5 times. You only passed it once. You guys are way behind the basket curve. You got to pass that basket, baby."
Well, I don't know which Catholic church you go to, but in Africa, it's once. The people are pretty poor, but still, the Catholic Church is pretty wealthy.
They know how to get the money. All right, so tell us a little bit about your family.
So I'm married to a wonderful man named Manuel Gonzalez, and we have 2 girls, Zoe and Chloe. They're 11 and 9, 6th grade and 4th grade. So we're busy. I'm a busy working mom.
So where do you live now?
I live in North Chesterfield.
Okay, so you actually don't live in the district, right?
Well, I've lived in the district until they redrew the lines a few months ago and moved my little neighborhood outside. So I'm about a mile or 2 away from the border.
Well, your opponent, Sheriff Wade, doesn't live in the district either.
Never lived in the district.
And I don't think Don McEachin lives in the district.
No.
And I think the only candidate that actually lives in the district is Ella Ward. I think that's
say
it.
that.
Maybe Elliot Faust on the Democratic side. By the way, if anybody has heard from Elliot Faust, would you please ask him to call us? He's the phantom candidate. I want to give him equal time. I can't find the guy. 757-692-1710. So how did you meet your husband?
Actually, I met him at a Christian camp in the Richmond area.
Very nice.
Chance meeting. And it's a long story, but I knew it. So immediately.
You met him in the United States.
That's correct.
Right. Okay.
I knew it immediately, and we kind of both knew when we first met.
All right. So we're going to talk about some issues, but I want to get to the nuts and bolts of this campaign. You got the signatures. You filed. You're an official candidate. You've got a primary challenge. Sheriff Wade's been on the ballot in Rico. He's a sheriff. He's going to raise money. What is your fundraising capability?
Well, John, I believe that the people are the money. Without people, there is no money. And there is none of this stuff, not this building, nothing. So people are the real deal. And I've been out on the trail while I was collecting signatures. That was too early to say, give me this bunch of money and I will do this and I'll do that. But I tell you what I've seen. I've seen excitement. I've been able to talk to a lot of people who are willing to give to the campaign, who are already giving to the campaign, and the momentum is there. And so I would say that I know what it takes to raise money. I worked for Congressman Forbes before in 2012, and I understand the challenge of raising money, and I'm up for the challenge. It looks good. We're going to do this.
So, Jackee, tell us about your employment now. Where do you work?
Right now, up until about 4 weeks ago, I was working for the Family Foundation as grassroots and prayer coordinator. And so, obviously, you understand, it's a nonprofit. So I had to take a hiatus. I had to resign in order to give my full...
You can't, well, and the other thing is you can't stay with them if you're a candidate for public office.
That's correct.
Right, because they're a nonprofit.
So right now, my full-time attention is given to this race. And
okay.
I'm giving it all that I've got.
All right, so the first thing is you've got to win the primary battle against Sheriff Wade. We've got plenty of time to get into your differentials. I'm not going to do that today. We'll do that next time. Let's get into some specific issues. On Thursday in Congress, there is an effort underway. It's going to be voted on Thursday whether or not to essentially bail out the territory of Puerto Rico, which involves what they call the super bankruptcy plan, putting U.S. taxpayers on the hook for Puerto Rico's ills. But Puerto Rico officials are saying, look, without this, the island's going to sink into the ocean or something. How do you stand on that?
You know, John, I've followed that a little bit, and I've kind of been thinking about that, and I just think that Puerto Rico is a little different than, say, big banks and businesses. However, I think we need to start looking at the root problems. Because what I feel like is that we're constantly looking at the leaves. We're constantly, say, for example, our problems are a tree. We're looking at the leaves and we're cutting off the branches and we're trying to save this tree and we're not looking at the root. How did we get here in the first place? And we need to start dealing with those problems.
So if you were in Congress now and this vote is coming up, would you vote for the Puerto Rico bailout or not?
I want to say I would take time to read the bill. I have not read the bill.
Okay, let's get to trade. Most likely, if you get elected to Congress and you are seated in January, there's a good chance you're going to vote on the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal. There's no amendments. You either vote for it or you vote no. How would you vote on TPP?
John, I believe in the sovereignty of the United States. I believe in the sovereignty of each nation. And when we are doing these trade agreements, I mean, NAFTA, look where we are with NAFTA. I can't tell you how I would vote because I haven't gone line by line to look at what all is on the bill. But I lean more towards making sure that we are sovereign. We're not being given the short end of the stick. And now I understand, we have to do trade with other nations, but we have to look out for the interest of the taxpayer, the American taxpayer. We have to look out for the interests of of America and maintain our freedom. Anything that's going to take away freedom, I am against.
Okay, so you haven't read the TPP, so you're saying court's out, or you're inclined to vote no?
Just from the outset, I'm inclined to vote no, although I would rather take time to read it.
Okay, if you're in Congress once again before the end of your first term, the Export-Import Bank is going to come up for reauthorization. I'm sure you're, as a candidate for Congress, you're familiar with that. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's something that should be continued, or would you be inclined to get rid of it?
Again, anything that's taking away freedom from Main Street, I am not in favor of. And the Export-Import Bank seems to me like is just, the sandbox for big businesses. and it helps big businesses. And yet, big businesses are the ones that are hammering the small business owner right here in our backyard. And that is who we're supposed to be batting for when we're in Congress. That's the purpose of having the House of Representatives, is to represent the people of the district. And I understand the district. I understand the 4th district. In fact, the new 4th district is made up of a lot of people who are struggling financially. And if we keep on bailing out and helping the most wealthy people, for example, somebody like Donald Trump. Now, I disagree with Donald Trump on some things, but there's something that he's doing. He's talking about that. He gave an example how, because he's a billionaire, he can borrow a lot of money on just a signature. But I can't go up to the bank and borrow money on a signature. Granted, I mean, the bank needs to know that I have backing and I have collateral and all that stuff. But it shouldn't be that easy just because I have so much. There has to be some level playing field, equal opportunity, not equal outcomes. I'm not for equal outcomes because freedom is not like that, but equal opportunity. And I feel like the Export-Import Bank just exacerbates that. The current situation.
Okay, so it sounds like you're not in favor of it. We're with Jackee Gonzalez, Republican candidate for Congress. She's running against Sheriff Mike Wade. The Republican nominee will be chosen in a June 14th primary. Jackee, let's get to entitlement reform. We got 2.5 minutes. Social Security, Medicaid, things like that. We have to do something. Some people have called for the age for Social Security to be increased. Also, that if you make over a certain amount of money, that you wouldn't get Social Security benefits, although you paid into it. We have $100 trillion of unfunded mandates. What's your position on that?
That's a big question, John. But the current situation is we're 19 trillion in debt. In 11 years, we're going to just, all our GDP is going to be going to those those programs. Then what are we going to do after that? We definitely have a huge problem. But then, first of all, I cannot be advocating for somebody who paid into the system being pushed out of the system simply because they made a lot of money. Now, I could say on my own, I could say individually, well, I have done very well for myself, and so I'm going to opt out just to help the system. But that's not something for government to decide, that people paid into it, but then we're going to go ahead and start saying, well,
so you would not be in favor. Look, I'm running out of time. So you would not be in favor of mandating people not getting their Social Security check over a certain amount of income.
Equal opportunity, not equal outcomes.
Jackee Gonzalez, who did you vote for in the March 1st Super Tuesday primary?
Well, John, I think what you want to know is, am I conservative? Am I a conservative?
No,
yes, I am a conservative.
I asked, there were 5-6 candidates. Which candidate did you vote for? I think that's a legitimate question.
I am conservative, and let's.
So you're not going to answer me?
I think your vote is private, but I'll tell you, I voted for somebody who's still in the race. So.
There's only 3 people in it, so it sounds like you voted for one of the 3. Jackee, I'm out of time. We do want to have you back. We had a lot more questions I want to get next time to the international front. We'll probably maybe have debate between yourself and Sheriff Wade, but we appreciate your coming in. Jackee Gonzalez, Republican candidate for District 4, U.S. House of Representatives. She's running for the Republican nomination. She's running against Sheriff Mike Wade. That'll be decided in a June 14th primary to go up against either Don McEachin, Ella Ward, or Elliot Faust. I'm out of time.